And the Andor World Tour rolls on. And just like the Temptations, we just interchangeable members. Interchangeable members. We got a returning guest, one of the OGs of Team Two Box, Miss Yali Perez. How are you today, ma'am?
I'm here. I only have one box, but by the end of this episode, I might have a second. You never know. So good to be
You know what
back.
I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And you already know she is the fastest graduate in Jedi history, Miss Miso Hai. How are you today, ma'am? How are you?
I'm doing well, relaxing. Yali's back.
Hey,
Yeah,
Miss.
Ali's back.
So,
We want to sell all our west wishes to Mikey. He's in yet another wedding. The most sought out. I almost called him a bridesmaid. You know, we're inclusive here. Bridesmaid, best man, whatever you want to call it. He's there. He'll be back next week. Hopefully, we shall see. But we are reviewing episode seven. Episode seven. I think it's episode seven. Not eight, nine. We're just gonna go with seven. The eight is eight. The prison
yeah.
the groomsman, that's the one. We are reviewing episode 8. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this was a very self-contained episode. If we make it to 45 minutes, we did a great job. So we're gonna start it off a bit different. We had some predictions last week. Some of them were right, some of them were wrong. We're just gonna kind of go over them just a bit. Yali, since you were here, I'm just gonna assume you watched because everyone watches this, and then we're just gonna kind of just go with that. And then there were like a couple different beats here, maybe like 3 different major things. I'll let you guys pick where you want to start, but we'll go with the predictions. So, so I got to tip my hat or my curl activator to you for this episode. You had said that you felt like her husband was just a dick and he wasn't gonna betray her, and it might be her daughter that was gonna sell Mom Mothma up the river. Let's get the moths in the chats from Mom Mothma. Let's get the moths in the chats, and it sure seems that way. Her daughter was acting super sketch when she had another dinner party with her banker friend slash co-rebellion cohort. She was just like, "Yo, you're here all the time now. Like, why are you here all the time? Like, what are you doing?" So I think we got that one right. We weren't right about the time skip, even though it still could come. The time skip still could come. He still might spend some time in jail. We were right about getting Saw Gerrera in this episode. We were wrong about how we got Saw Gerrera in this episode, but we were right. And we were right about the serial Deidre team up. We kind of nailed that one. I think they heard the episode. They changed the script. Maybe that's why this episode was so lackluster. Oh, it was a 30-day time
There
skip.
was.
Look, we did get time skip. Look at us. Look at us. Just checking boxes. So for this episode, we kind of were self-contained in like 3 different spots. So we had Cassian in prison. We had Deidre and Serial with the ISB. And then we got some Mon Mothma Luthen stuff in Coruscant. I think that's where they're at, whatever planet they're on. Where would you guys like to start?
I don't know why we're skipping over the fact that Cassian Andor, as soon as he got his money, went straight to a fine young lady on some
I'm saying though, that is a hard hitter because it was so. We thought it was this time skip that was like a month ahead. He forgot about his family. He's living a good life. He has a tan. He got a fine chick. He's going to he's just living it up. You're like, dang, he forgot kind of quick. Moved on less than a month is what Dedra, Miro said. It was less than a month that Cyril had been working with his uncle. So less than 30-day time skip. He's just living it up. You know, I mean, if you got money, I can't. Can you blame him?
Hey, when he took a trip to South Beach. He took a trip to South Beach. Living it up. Well, that was his karma because he really wasn't involved in that grocery store robbery or wherever those guys were running from. He really had nothing to do with it. They was like, "Yo, he's like, I'm a tourist." He wasn't lying. He was telling the truth. So I guess we'll start with Cassian. We can start there. So all of this episode for him was spent in Magnet Prison. It was very interesting. I kind of dug it though. Like it was cool. Like how they were like, "Yo, kick your shoes off." I was like, "Oh, they want them to be comfortable. Oh, that's nice." And even with the magnet handcuffs that like got sucked to the chair and everything, that was really cool. So the prison, I'm not sure what planet that was or if the planet was even named. They basically built like what were those parts? Did they ever say what those parts they were building for? They looked like engines to me. I don't know if that's what
I don't know,
were.
but to me they look like the chains on a bike. And the bike chain that always pops off the wheel for some reason.
Every
That's
time.
what it reminded to me. I'm like, why? Do we have bikes in Star Wars? So that's what I kept thinking.
We do now. You know what? They're about to invent bikes. It's about to drop. See, look. That's why they're there. They're like, yo, we about to try this new
Space
thing.
bikes.
Speeders, everybody can't afford speeders. It was like we gotta, something for the everyday man. We're gonna get them bicycles.
According to the Empire, they having financial trouble, so that's very true.
they just got look, you know what it was? Because they just got robbed. They just lost all that money, so they can't afford the speeders right now. They was like, yeah, we gotta switch the manual. They was like, I don't know what you want us to do. we gotta cut costs. We gotta cut costs. So all of Cassian's episode was spent in this prison. We got another Andy Serkis sighting. He's the Star Wars Wong. He's just in everything. He's the through line. He's just traveling the multiverse of Star Wars, and it's great. Was that how Snoke's origin story? Was that Snoke?
That's what everyone kept saying online. It was like, oh, we about to get Snoke. I'm like, but is he still Palpatine? No, he's not. Yo, okay.
that'd be hilarious if that was like Snoke's origin story.
But the planet was Narkina 5. That's right.
Yeah. Perfect.
The name of the episode.
Look, you know I'm not the name guy. Miso is the name guy. That's not me. I just steer the ship as best I can. So Narkina 5. So the breakdown of the prison, like I said, the floor, I think they said it was tungsten. Oh, that's always been a great word. Like that and like the plural for ghosts with all the extra at the end, just tungsten.
Because they're spooky.
So pretty much how that, like, there wasn't they had no doors. Like the guards didn't carry weapons or anything like that. And it was just like, oh, like, we feed you. You got this. It's nice here. All white walls, off white. They're very chic. Everything like that. It was like, yeah, like we're not gonna, enforce you too much. They was just like, just don't act up. And then they hit them with the Backstreet Back all right dance moves when they activated the magnets to show you like what happens. Pretty much like the magnets, I guess, like pull you down to the floor and cause all type of bodily harm. And it was like, yeah, that was the first setting. Yeah, right. It was arthritis. It was crazy. So I guess just for the Cassian scene, whether it be aesthetic wise or just like the beat that was going on, or how once again this show is taking turns that I didn't expect. They're going somewhere totally else. Yali, since you're our returning guest, how did you feel just about where Cassian is this week as he was compared to last week?
To me, it feels like almost like opposites of himself. Like, especially the Cassian Andor you meet in Rogue One, he's this like person who's very sure of himself. He's sure of his mission. He's sure about what he's doing, and he has like this tunnel vision. And now we're just like, this guy we meet is just like the Nick Cannon of like space. He's just like, Nick Cannon of space. Like, he cared about his sister for like all of 2 episodes before it was like, well, I got money, and then now I got this beautiful woman, and she calls me Keith, and she wants me to go to the store and get candy or whatever the fuck it was. This is like
the green ones, not the
green ones. I'm just like, ew. Like, who are you? Like, I don't know if it's like it's done purposely to be like, he's really unlikable, and then he has like this big heroic swing, and now we love you. It's Cassian. It's like, no, like, I think that's lazy writing personally. Is like, you can make someone likable and you don't have to make them unlikable to be likable. If that makes sense. It's just like, you could just be a likable dude. Like, so I just found it weird. And then when he got to prison, I was like, oh, maybe this is it. Like, this is the swing. Like, he's going to be like, down with the oppressor and we're going to free everyone. He was just like, nah, like, this bed is comfortable. I actually really like these pajamas. Personally, they go with my skin tone.
Food's not too bad.
Like, food's not too bad. The work is easy. I made friends on my first day. And you could just see, like, he kind of got, like, brainwashed by the system. I guess maybe that could be like poetic and like that's how like the system works so essentially, but I don't give Disney that much credit, to be honest. So like I don't really enjoy this version of Cassian Andor. I want him to get to the point where he's supposed to get, but like if this is how he gets there, it almost feels like it's not earned. And it's just it was just like shout out again to Disney once again saying like Star Wars has sex in it, but like
the S in Star Wars stands for sex.
This is like, no, I don't like this version of Cassian, and I'm hoping the next episode he like finds himself, because it's been like 30 days or less, but he just seems so like content, and that's not That's not a trait you need in a rebellion, if that makes sense.
No, I love that. I love that. Miso, since you were here with me last week, we were kind of talking about where it seemed that this show was kind of trending in terms of, like you mentioned it, like him like forgetting like what his mission was and his goal, which seemed like super duper off the wall and out of nowhere. Like he kind of was like that was his core motivation for like the first couple episodes. Like, get some money, find my sister, and then get the hell out of Dodge. But you had mentioned that he is a very self-serving person last week. Like if you look, even though his motives might be selfless looking, it is just for him. So same question for you, Miso. Compared to where he was last week to where he is now, how you feeling about this character transition?
I can agree with Yali and say that it is uninteresting, but it's fun to look at the aspect of where he's at. So he's in Narkina 5, and then they don't have shoes, and then people are getting fried, and then there's 7 seconds, 7, 7, 7, and then we enter Andy Circus, and then it's like working at Amazon, but you don't get paid on a starship, So I think it's like more, it took away from the character, and like it kind of put us in like, okay, 6 years of this, and so it's kind of like, something's gotta give because there's no way, right?
Absolutely. Do we think he stays here? Like, I'm not, maybe not the full 6 years, but do we think the next episode, the time skip that we had thought would have been this week, do you think we get like a prolonged version of, like you said, him just kind of maintaining the status quo and like losing hope? I think it's the beard. When he has a beard, he's rebellious. He's rebellious. He's ready. He's ready for action. And every time he shaves, he's a bit of a cuck. So what do you feel? What do you feel, Yali? Do you think are we still kind of like maintaining like in this time period, like even if it's just a couple of days, or like do we think he's locked in here?
I think it depends how much we paid for our Andy Serkis cameo. So like if he's supposed to have like 30 straight minutes, then we're gonna be stuck on Narkina 5 for at least 2 more episodes because we gotta get all our Andy in. That's just part of the contract. I think we were probably in Narkina 5 at least for 1 more episode, just because we need to see whatever the transition is for him to become less of a selfless person. And I think maybe towards the end you see a little bit of that, like when the old guy was like fucking up, like Cassian loves old people. Like that's one thing for sure. He loves old people.
That's his soft spot.
That's his soft spot. So it's just like all the little old guys like not doing well. Like I could see Cassian be like, no, we have to save old Pete or whatever his name is.
Cotton Eye Joe.
Or whatever his name is.
We gotta take care of him.
And he's gotta have at least like 1 fight scene with Andy. So like I think we have 1 more episode of him on the planet. I don't know if we get all 6 years. I'd be tempted to say we probably like maybe a year and a half if they want to go out so far, just to see like what the rebellion looks like or how the rebellion builds itself without him, because once we meet him, he's like so integral a part of it. So it's just like, what was it like before him? So I'm gonna say we get like maybe a year and a half in jail, and Cassian just has like the sweetest beard, and like his celly does his braids for him, and
he don't got a celly.
In a year and a half, you won't get a celly. Don't ask me how I know. Just
overcrowding.
Know that
it's a metaphor for overcrowding in the American prison system. I see what you did there.
Yeah,
Disney is woke. Disney is woke.
Disney try to tell you a She-Hulk. Y'all ain't listen. Kevin.
Right. But if something else from this prison sequence pops in my head, we'll circle back to it, but it wasn't really a lot here. So transitioning off of that, another thing that Miso said last week, this is why she's the fastest graduate in Jedi Temple history. She had said like him being in prison might be the safest space for him right now, because it's a little crazy out there. And that's kind of exactly what we got. There is a manhunt for him, essentially, from the ISB and from his whole ragtag Island of Misfit Toys rebel friends from the heist. So we'll get to the ISB because I feel like that's where we'll be at a lot, because a lot happened there. But we'll kind of touch with Val, one of those two, Luthen's daughter. And we'll touch on what she's going on. So her and Bix was there. Her and what's her partner's name? Cinta. They're held up on Ferrex, and they're pretty much I found that whole sequence funny, that they're really just like camped outside his house waiting for him to come back, and my man's in jail. They're like, he gonna show up. He'll be here. Give us some time.
I love how like that's the only place he could be. Like, there's nowhere else. Like, he
didn't check anywhere else.
He's a lovely person. He'd never cause trouble. Like, they would never arrest him. He's gonna be here soon. Like,
he's gonna call his mother.
Yeah.
Like, he's gonna call his mother. So we're back on Ferrex. We're spending a lot more time on Ferrex than I thought. I kind of thought that we were like not done with it, but I thought, you know, he was gonna be all living his rebellious life. Then he shaved that beard. I should have seen it. He shaved the beard. I was like, oh, he's about to be corny for a little bit. But we have Vel on Ferrex. They're like pretty much camped out, waiting for him to come back to pretty much off him. Now, I don't know if I was hearing things, but is Luthen's like his sidekick, like the curate, his co-curate, was her name Leia? Was he like saying Leia or
Kayla or Keela?
Clea.
Okay.
Clea.
Yeah. I was just like real original with the names here, guys. Like, couldn't have given her
Moth's daughter is like Leda, and I'm just like, so
low hanging fruit.
Just like, we don't just Leia's and we'll add another consonant. It'll work. Don't worry about it.
But one of our previous episode predictions, and Yali, I'm interested in your take on Claire, is we said like, oh, she seems like if she's not running shit, she has a lot more muscle than what she shows when she's in character. Like when she's in curator mode versus like when she lets her hair down, literally and metaphorically. She lets her hair down. She's no nonsense. So Yali, if you want to give us your take on like the Clay character and like what role you think she plays in I guess the 3 episodes that we have left, like where do you think that going? Because she's no nonsense. She's like, no, Andor needs to die. It seems like Luthen's on board now. I was like, damn, I thought you knew him. Like he knew about his life. So confused.
Yeah, no, I think what's been happening in the past couple of Star Wars things, including the shows, is there been a lot more emphasis on their female characters and being like stronger role models or just stronger leads compared to their male counterparts. So we got a little bit of that with, or actually a lot of that in the Book of Boba Fett when Fennec Shand was just like 10 times cooler than Boba ever was, and you can see that with Clea that she is like. I think whatever her reasoning for wanting to be a part of the rebellion is stronger than everything else. I think she also has like a self-serving purpose or motivation, we just haven't seen what it is yet. And for her, I think the stakes are way too high, especially with them being so close to like the enemy, you know. So I think that she's probably, if not like the head honcho, she's definitely second in charge. And I think this rebellion means more to her than some rich guy who's just like playing chess, or, you know, because his scene with Saul, just like, not to skip ahead, just felt like 2 dudes playing chess. And it's
Absolutely.
It's like, oh, you're not really here for the reasons you think you are. Like, this is fun for you, but for Clea, it's not fun. Like, this is every day. She's like, people die every day, B, and like Cassian could be one of them. So
ain't none.
It's like it is what it is. So I'm excited to see her continue to like, you know, be the badass. I would dare say she probably even like off Luthen just because he be fucking around too much. So
ooh, you think she's gonna like Luthen's gonna get
I think the mission is more important than its people, and she's ready to take out whoever it is because the mission's greater. So and if she does it, you know, that gets rid of their Skarsgård, because, you know, Disney doesn't keep the Skarsgård for too long. Like, they're there, but you can't
expensive.
Stay.
They're very expensive per hour. They was just like, look, we got you for like a 6-7 episode per capita, and then you gotta go. You gotta go. But no, I really like that a lot, because they're definitely like, oh, I won't even call it an undertone. It's just tone. Like that she really wants Andor dead. Like, and I don't, but it's not coming across like a personal gripe. Like you were saying, like this rebellion, this she's not new to this. She's true to this. Like, this is like, no, this is my life. Like, I'm not rich. I'm not from money. Even like kind of like the distaste she has for Vel, you know, Vel obviously being like a rich kid, which was confirmed this episode, that she's just a rich kid running away from her parents, which is weird because you work with your dad. Well, allegedly your dad. Like, alleged. Like, so I really like that her being like, look, I'm not gonna, you think you the one who said he was a loose end. Like, I wasn't even paying attention to bull. Like, I was fine with him, you know, being part of this, but you said he's a loose end. Now I'm locked in. He gotta go. But yeah, the end of last week's episode and the beginning and all of this episode, it does feel detached to me, because it's like other than Cassian, no bearded Cassian. You know, we know when he shaves the beard, he changes. But it does seem like every character that we've seen, like their temperament has changed. Like with Luthen, like the first 2-3 episodes, they alluded to, and it still could come back that, you know, him and Cassian, uh, well, more Luthen than Cassian, like he has a connection to him somehow from like his childhood or whatever. He knew a lot about him, or maybe he knows someone who knew him. But now it just kind of seemed like he don't give a fuck. Like he's like, oh well, like he was a hired gun, and then Miso coming to you because you've been locked in on like the Luthen Cassian dynamic. Do we feel like they called him Mulligan? And they're like, hey, yeah, never mind. We don't really need him tied into this backstory, and it was just a gun for hire. Or are we somehow messily gonna like circle back to that? And it is like, oh, he's my son, not my son. I'm just being, like, I knew his dad in the war or something like that.
I think they blurred the lines on purpose to make him like less of value, because now at this point, like the bounty on his head is huge. So his value is like a lot more than he even knows. And the predictions are short for me.
Yeah, it's getting messy. Like it's getting messy to say the least. And I'm not ever sure, because we had talked about this Yali Book of Boba Fett. It seemed like they were shooting the show like as they were airing it, because like stuff we would like complain about and be like, no way they'll do that. They did that, and I was like, wait, what? Like, I'm so confused. Like, where did this plot line come from? But I like what you had said about Cassian and how like they're making him very unlikable. And it's a weird, if you can't tell, I'm trying not to choke. I feel it in there. They look, the cereal. Cereal eating cereal. We're gonna get to him next. But yeah, like they're making all these characters super not likable. And it's very confusing because it's like they're making like Dedra and Cereal like not likable, but like, oh yeah, these guys, they I like the cut of their jib. Like they're doing some great stuff over there in the Empire.
I love how Belle was it showed how much weaker she was in Cinta again, because she's like kind of like falling in love and like kind of like getting tired of everything. And Cinta's like, no, I came for this thing. Like we have this thing going, but it's not more important, And I like the a little bit, just because we thought Belle was like this, like hard,
Yeah, it's I'm not gonna hold you. The tone is jarring. Like I don't know who to root for. Like obviously like we're rooting for the rebellion, but I'm like, these people who are starting it, they're not the most likable characters anymore. Like you were saying, like Vel's getting she's trying to talk about like, hey, what we doing tonight? Why they mid mission? And like, yo, like let's focus on the task. Luthen went from like loving Cassian and like him being like, nah, like we can't kill him. That's my guy. And now he's just like, whatever, do what you got to do. Like if he dies, he dies. Like I don't really care. And it's just such a weird transition. And like I don't know where it's going. Like you were saying, we got 3 episodes left. Assuming this did get approved for season 2, right?
Yeah, with 12 more episodes.
I remember I had said, like, I think it was like episode 2, but we were on this, and I was just like, I don't know when shooting versus confirmation for season 2 happened, but it's seeming like they were midway shooting season 1, planning for 1 season, and then they're like, no, we got 2, and then it was like, all right, cool, we can slow burn this. And now it's like, no, y'all turned the burner off. And I'm like, I am just not really understanding like where this goes. Like the whole prison thing doesn't really make sense. Like he got locked up. It was like, it doesn't seem necessary. Like I said, Luthen's character changed, Vel's character changed. Why they're making Dedra and Cyril seem like they're like really awesome people. Like they're like, yo, they do their job. They're sticking it to the man. They're going against their orders. Like they're getting shit done over there. I'm like switching sides. I'm like, you know what? Fuck the rebellion. Empire till I die. Like they got some good people over there. It's really just Palpatine that's fucking up. Everybody else is just doing their job.
What? Well, so you're switching it up. See,
I'm still here. I'm still up. The moth in the chat.
And or so you know
and or.
Look, you go and or
you're switching it up back and forth based off of what fits you for your benefit.
They are taking me on an emotional roller coaster.
Tour, if you will.
Look, I see what you did there. I like it. I like it a lot. So we keep bringing up Dedra and our man Cyril eating cereal. and we called it last week. It was just like, oh, they're gonna team up, go on a buddy cop journey to find Cassian. That was probably my favorite thing of the whole episode, like just their interaction and what was happening there. Just a quick recap for those who listen. I'm assuming if you're in here, you saw the episode. Our man Sarah's working his desk job, and even while working his desk job, he keeps like auditing Cassian. He's like, I'm gonna get somebody to pay attention to this man.
He audited him 6 times and raised the alarm.
He kept raising up. He's like, bro, you need to stop. But I find that again, like them making people who were like, ew, I hate him, to like, all right, cool. Like he's so steadfast and like devoted to his cause. He was like, yo, even if y'all are making me like the IRS, he's like, I'm gonna still find a way to report this man. He's like, because he needs to be in jail. So he audits him 6 different times, which like eventually gets the attention of the ISB. They pull him in to the interrogation room. Didn't they say that they were gonna leave him in there for like 4 days? It was like, let's hold him and just keep asking him questions and like have him come back. So
I thought it was wild how she was talking smack, but he knew that he was needed. She's like, look, you're wasting my time. And then she goes back and they're like, need him for like, we need him for more. And then like that military vibe was hitting hard, like, what's going on, but still like getting the information, like, the whole like authoritative thing, like they talk down on her now, he's being talked down on, but he's like looking to the side like, they need me.
Yeah, you beat me by 1 second, because I would have thought that they would have hit it off immediately. They was just like, oh, these are 2 people who's like their superiors, like they didn't care about their opinion. They was just like, oh, you're doing too much. Like just collect the check and sit down, like relax with your tailored collars. Calm down. But then it's just like Deidre got the promotion. She feeling herself. She was like, I'm big dog now. Like, I'm a bark. Like, so yeah, she was definitely talking crazy this year. So Yali, just how are you feeling about just Deidre's, I guess, rise to power and what's going on with Cyril, how they were just like the same characters on 2 opposite sides of the Empire, and now they've like come into a collision course, and like where do you see their partnership evolving into?
Their stories kind of remind me of like a Reva's story, like the Inquisitors. Like they were all hoping to be head Inquisitors, so like everyone's out for themselves and like willing to do whatever it takes so that they get that pin and the promotion. And it's just like it just shows that the Empire in itself is just very like dog eat dog. Like they're very much, we're supposed to be for Palpatine, but really it's like for us and Palpatine, because
for everyone,
like we need promotions. Like the 401k is better. So it's just like, but also I can see like you said, like Deidre is the way she is because like people don't take her seriously at her job for whatever reason, even though she's like highly qualified and she takes her job very seriously. And so she's like, well, they shitting on me, I'm gonna shit on Cyril. And it's just like, because I don't have nobody else to fuck with, even though you can tell like she does like low-key respect him and like understands that he's just as dedicated to his job as she is. So like they, like you said, they're 2 sides of the same coin, and just like they could really be each other. I think possibly Deidre has more of like family support than Cyril does, because he was just immediately on the desk job, and I don't see like someone kicking her off to a desk job. I don't think she would even accept it. She'd be like, fuck out of here with that shit.
A desk?
I'd rather work at that meat place on Tatooine,
cutting up steaks.
That's much more better. So I think it'd be interesting to see them. I hope they don't turn them into like love interest, because I could see them wanting to do that. Just because out of all the series, this is the most love involved. We got Val and Cinta and Cassian and Bix and
Cassian and the elderly.
Yeah, Cassian and the elderly, and like Val and Brasso, even though that's not really a thing, but in my mind it's a thing. Like, why you keep checking up on his moms? Like, you got to think of his moms. Oh no. So there's a lot of love happening here. So like that's my concern, is that they'll take away from the dynamic of them having like respect for each other and that growing, and get into some like cheesy like Leia Han situation, but like less likable people.
They're gonna Kylo Ren Rey the situation. That kiss was very unearned. Like,
definitely.
Y'all basically cousins. You sickos.
I mean, people love incest in TV nowadays, so who are we to
I blame Game of Thrones. They did this. They did this. So we got a comment that said this can't be a Star Wars show because we haven't been to Tatooine not one time. Very true.
Yes.
You're right. We still got 3 more episodes.
Cassian can make his way there. You never know. His sister works on Tatooine as a prostitute.
His sister is Tatooine.
She is Tatooine.
So, Yali, I want to bring you in. I'm trying to recruit you. So last week, Mikey wasn't rolling. Me and Miso, we're on the train that Cyril and Deidre, they're gonna switch sides. They're gonna like be so fed up with the Empire not believing them. Because remember, I love the part when Cyril was like throwing down his job resume. He's like, "Yo, I solved a murder in 2 days. Like, fuck with me. Like, come on." So we was trying to convince Mikey, like, it seems like because they keep making like that beat come again and again that they're like not taken seriously and like they don't feel like they have a voice. Do you see or do you think that it could be possible that they switch sides? Like it gets to a point where it's so bad where they're like, yo, we're figuring things out. Like 1 + 1 = 2. And they're just like, that they're just like, dang. Or maybe even like in their investigation, they do find out that the Empire is like on some skeezy shit. That they're just like, dang, like we're working for the wrong team. Time like Zuko. Like, oh, maybe I'm the problem. And they jump ship. You want to get them spoon emojis.
I could see Deidre switching before Cyril. I think Cyril has too much to prove to the Empire specifically. Like his mom would like, I think besides the Empire, his mom and his uncle, like his family really need him to like do well in the Empire. And so like for him, it's just way much more personal than I think it would be for Deidre. I think she, even though working for the Empire, she's a person of honor and integrity and doing things the right way. And I think if she could see that the Empire is not what they say they are, although that should be blatantly obvious to everyone, that she would switch over in a heartbeat. I think Cyril would take a lot much more. Like, I think they would have to like kill his mom for him to be like, oh, finally, my problem is gone. Thank you, rebellion. You know,
that's what's like, damn, y'all are good people.
You know what?
Let me switch.
Thanks for taking care of my mom. She was really getting on my nerves. Like, I think it would take much more for him to switch sides than it would be for Deidre. Like,
I'm rolling.
But again, it's Star Wars. For all you know, Val will switch over and now she's with the Empire because, you know, and Cinta and them, like they'll all just switch and then it'll be this crisscross of allegiances.
Friends become enemies, enemies become friends.
Coming along, Brian. Yeah, I feel like there's still enough episodes for them to completely pull off a 180. So
because I feel like how will they coexist storyline with Cassian and Cyril would just be such a great thing. Like they're trapped on a planet, and then how are they going to coexist? Like how will they get along to get off this planet? I feel like it's there. So speaking of somebody who's steadfast and committed to the cause, I do want to touch on Mom Mothma. She was in here very little bit, and again, I gotta give credit to Miso. She kind of called that she thinks the daughter's gonna be a stool pigeon because we kept questioning, like she has a husband, kinda, she has a daughter, but like we know her as kind of like the face of the rebellion, and she clearly doesn't have any familial ties once we get to see her in Star Wars or any other million properties that she showed up in. And we were like, dang, like how is she gonna be able to like leave that? Like we were saying that just wanting the cause of the rebellion for me as a parent, that wouldn't be enough for me to leave my kids. I'd take them with me. I'm like, oh, come on, let's rebel. The family that rebels together stays together. Like, let's get out of here. Leave your dad. Like we out. So, but her daughter was acting like super sketchy. So seeing that she's a teenager, Miso, I kind of let you go first. How do we think that betrayal will play out? Is it just like a phone call? Like, hey, my mom's on some wild stuff. Like, does her daughter enroll into the Empire Academy? And that's like what severs the bond. Like, how do you see that final nail in the coffin for Mom Mothma to be like, dang, like, I really don't have a place here. My place is with the rebellion. Where do you see that storyline going?
I feel like it already happened, but it's just going to get deeper because the daughter's already like, you're not there for me kind of vibe. So it's just like now other people are coming around. They can see you. They're talking with you more often, you know. And then she's so committed to her mission. The daughter's going to be like, you know, why, Mom? Why? You know, she's already feeling that way, you know, that why factor. So they're definitely, the cord has already been cut. So I think it's just going to get worse, if anything. you know, they're going to stick to their sides, and that'll be that. And because she's on the dad's side, the dad's just like, you know, hey, we got money, we're good, you know, let's just live and be happy, and, you know, whatever we've been through, you know, play it out and whatever, you know. And the daughter wants that family aspect, but Mon Mothma's got something else up her sleeve. So
I love it.
You with it or not.
Yeah, the dad said, I'd rather be rich and under control than broke and rebellious. You can have that. Yali, what about you? Like, how do you see that thread going on? Like, what do you think? It might not even be the daughter, but what do you think's like the thing that like catapults Mon Mothma to get the bob cut and wear angelic white dresses all the time?
Yes.
Like, what do you think is going to be the thing that happens to her that like takes her from being like this undercover Senate spy to like, no, like the face of the rebellion?
I think it's gonna be, I don't know if you guys watched the Dark Crystal series on Netflix, but there's a similar story that happened where the mom was like the speaker of the sex discourses and who are the bad guys, and then there's one daughter who's like, they're terrible people, and then the other daughter's like, no, they're like our gods, and they like gave us these nice clothes and our white privilege, and we're just like so happy to be here. And the daughter who's like with it was like so scared she was going to lose her position that she like killed her mom. And I'm not saying that Leda will kill her mom, but I think that Leda is so used to her lifestyle, living in privilege, living like sort of like a princess, that she'd be willing to, and also willing to keep the parent who she feels like is paying the most attention to her. And so a lot of people feel like familiarity is way more comfortable than the unknown, and the rebellion is this unknown that's going to take away her comfortableness and her familiarity, and that means losing a mom who she's already not really that close with is like, why the fuck not? So I do see her being betrayed by her daughter, but I also don't really trust Tay either, also because he has a regular name in a Star Wars thing, which is Tay. And I just feel like, no offense to you, man. Like, me and you, we known each other since like high school, but like, I don't know if I personally would trust you with my finances to lead a rebellion. Like, just like, I love you, but at the same time,
do you know what my legal last name is? I am amazing with money.
Yes, I know what your legal last name is.
My people do this.
But just saying, like, she hasn't like seen Tay in a long time, and she's like strongly holding on to these bonds they had when they were kids. And it's like, you're in war, that'll change a lot about a person's character because it's all about self-preservation. And I feel like Mon Mothma has to learn that, like, she too has to learn about self-preservation. She just hasn't gotten there yet because she's still too trusting and like the people who she's aligned herself with. And even in rebellions, you have like kind of like what Cinta and Val are saying, like, you gotta knock off a couple people who you used to work with. It's just the way it is.
Just a few.
You know, it's a rebellion.
What's murder amongst friends?
Right.
You said you think.
I think she's baiting. I feel like she knows the risk, and like, but she's kind of like roping him in, like, to make him feel good, like, oh yeah, we used to be friends, you know. And so he's still on the other side, but with their connection in his mind, he's gonna do what's right. And then when the bad thing happens, when he pulls back because he's scared or because of his position, she's gonna be ready, and she's gonna see it happening, and she's gonna use that as a catalyst to do what she's doing.
Yeah, I like that, because it was very, like, in hindsight, it was very conveniently placed, because like she reached out to him solely because he was a banker and that was like her childhood friend. So like she had no idea that he was like down for the cause. Like, but when he put up at that dinner and he thought that, you know, the part she's been playing, and she was like all Empire Till I Die. He was just like, yeah, man, you know, I'm not really with that no more. I'm kind of on my own thing. She was like, wait, I'm on that own thing too. that was very convenient. That, because,
yeah,
you know,
bestie, come on, bestie.
Yeah, because it's like she didn't ask him for help because she knew that he was fed up. She's just like, oh, he's a banker, that's my homie. Like, let me call. And he just so happened to also be down for the cause to bring it down.
She needs that money. She needs the money.
Don't be all. But it's funny that you had drawn a parallel, Yali, from another show. This storyline, Mon Mothma's storyline with the daughter, for any of our Attack on Titan fans, is literally Zeke's storyline. Like, his parents were rebellious leaders. he was like, nah, I'm cool with the establishment. This is my comfort level. I'm gonna be the Beast Titan. Like, fuck y'all parents. and he sold him up the river. I was like, I feel like that's what's gonna happen. That's gonna be like the thing. You know, she's gonna like snitch and call the Empire, and they're gonna show up. And she's like, how could you? And she's like, yo, you what's my favorite sport? You don't know me at all.
It's cricket.
She's like, you tell me my favorite sport, and I won't call the cops. Like, mom's like, touche.
It was like when the one brother from Narnia like sold him out for like Turkish delights. It's like, he's like, y'all don't even like me like that anyways. Like, I don't even know I love Turkish delights. I'm like, damn, relax. Like,
he's like, why am I the only one with black hair? I don't understand. Like, someone's got some explaining to do.
This is always that one who's just like could be easily turned for like the most minuscule of things. It's
snacks, like, bro. Yo, that scene when the witch was like, yo, he sold you out for sweets. Like,
I know.
Thomas was about to hook kick the shit out of Edmund. He's like, if my legs wasn't broken,
he lasts forever.
As a kid, I couldn't relate, but as an adult, I'm like, I would turn on people for snacks too. Honestly, like I get it. Like economy is hard. Food isn't easy to come by. Like you gotta do what you gotta do.
They lived in a mansion. I feel like they were quite well fed.
Like, during war times, though. Come on now.
You're right.
Well, snacks made him feel better than his siblings, so that's
for real.
Oh, that just broke my heart.
He even like licked all the powder off the thing and everything. He was like, God, he's just so good.
Yo, you know an episode doesn't have a lot in it when we have to like fill time with the Narnia rant.
So that's Saw Gerrera.
Well, her daughter is giving snitch vibes. That's the whole point.
Absolutely.
That was the point. We had to go into that. If her dad is making her feel better, if everything else besides her mom is making her feel better, then she's gonna get the Turkish delight. So what can you say?
Metaphor. That's the new metaphor for snitching. You heard it here first. You look like a Turkish delight. Okay. I see what you did.
The temptation.
But it's so funny that like the daughter is like kind of peeping what's going on, but like the husband thinks she's just having an affair, and he still don't care. Like he's just like, oh yeah, she's definitely sleeping with the banker.
No, they definitely know. They definitely know, but they don't know her well enough to like ask. I don't think, because it's like they never listen to her anyway. So it's kind of like, oh, why do you want to listen now? Because someone else is involved in my life? No, go away. You know, go back to how you guys were acting at the table that day.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. You and your luxurious top knot. Get out of my business, sir. But I just thought that was so funny that it's like the daughter's like, why are you here? What do you do again? How do you know my mom? And the husband's just like, oh, he's here again. Like y'all are on right? Yeah, trying to get her drunk. He's like, oh, you want another one? He's like, load him up. Like, she's like, nah, I'm cool. I don't do this no more. But yeah, so how about that Saw Gerrera? Like,
how about that prison when you get fried? Like that was really interesting to me. Like when you step out and then they get fried and they like die basically.
Oh, when the guy was just like, you don't walk in your sleep, do you? He's like, what do you mean? He's like, you'll see. He's
like, you'll find out I sleepwalk.
It was really sketchy, and I tried to predict, and I was like, I have no predictions because it's unpredictable in this. I don't know.
Man, sure is. But I feel like we did great, guys. So the Saw Gerrera scene for me was very lackluster. I didn't think it was like a lot that really went into that. I had to watch it more than once because I was just like you were saying, y'all, it just seemed like two guys playing chess. But it's like, so we know Saw is super duper like an extremist. Like, he's like no nonsense, like what's murder between friends? Like he just kills people. But then it's just like Luthen was kind of like questioning his morals, but like when Mon was questioning his morals, he's like, yo, people are gonna die because of what you did. He's like, yeah, that's the point. And then people will rise up because they've been killed. So I was just like, is this like your extreme's more extreme than my extreme, so I'm judging you? I was like, I have to watch that conversation twice because like that scene for me, and if I missed something, y'all could definitely feel free to chime in. It served no purpose to me. I was like, I don't see. Like, even while he went there, I was confused.
Purpose, and it was that Luthen is out of options. Luthen is out of options. You saw how pissed he was when he was like, haha, keep your ish, I don't care, bye. And he's just like, what am I gonna do? You know, because it's like he can't tell on himself, but at the same time he knows, and they're supposed to be an alliance, but it's like he's trying to figure out more options from him, and he's not going to get it at like the price that he wants it, basically. He's like, you know what, load your stuff up and get up out of here. And he's just like, his face was looking like, you know, like all the pressure on him.
I took my wig off for this.
He was like straight shook. So I think it just served the purpose. It was a great dialogue to see that he was like out of options. He's feeling, it looks a little desperate. Like, what's he going to do after that? He's got to cool off and come back from that, because he's asking who he thinks is a poor man, you know, like essentially he's like, well, you need this, so just do this thing for me. And he's like, ha! You want me to do this thing for you for that? Do it yourself then. If you don't need me, then do it yourself. And he was like, oh man, I need this man so bad, you know? So it just showed how much he kind of like maybe will or won't need him, or what the next play or whatever like is going to be.
Yeah. I guess for me, like why it just seemed weird, because it's like, it went from like Luthen like freaking out over like trying to find Cassian. He's like, oh, we need to find him. Oh, send my daughter, not my daughter, and her girlfriend, not her girlfriend, to go find him. And then Kellis is like, oh, like let me do it. Like I'm big dog in the yard. Like I'll find him. And then he's like, I'll be right back. And then took a trip to another planet. Like met with Saw. He was just like, hey.
He thought it was gonna be easy. That was his problem. Yeah. He thought it was gonna be easy, and it wasn't.
I ain't mad at that. I like it. Now I feel like that scene had some purpose.
Like, besides the cameo we paid for?
Exactly. There's like,
Ahsoka's coming, and we have everyone else in that show, so we need Saw.
2 celebrities, 2 big ones, and 1 that is
two boxes. Everything comes in twos. Everything comes in twos.
I think that my only issue with the Saw scene is just like, we know who Saw is in Rogue One, and we know who Jyn Erso is in that movie, and it's like Jyn was almost always ready to just like do what needs to be done to like get her to do whatever she needed. Like it was all about saving her pops or whatever, and he was all just like in the movie like, be the dream, Jyn, be the dream. And it's just like, who's this guy? Like, it's like, that's facts. I don't know if it's just to say like he changes over time, but he's like
he's tired.
He's just tired by the time you get to Rogue One.
And like being extreme is exhausting.
So tiring. And I like half expected like little Jyn Erso to like run by at a certain point, just like, or like teenage version of her, like they're gonna show us Jyn, and they did it. So, but I just like I said, for me, it was just like Luthen is desperate, but also tried to like show you like this is who Saw was during the time, and try to make him closer to his character in Rebels, and it's just like, this is just Forrest Whitaker doing what he always does, minus the eye. So it's
collecting
just
a check.
That part, minus the eye too. I was like,
his eye looks like straight, right?
Healthy. He got some money right now going on.
He been practicing.
He doesn't need that Luthen money.
Guys, it's called acting. He was acting like it was straight.
No way.
He was in character.
I'm a person straighter eyes.
How many characters?
It went on about his business.
Oh my God. But yeah.
But I think the part that like threw me is just like, it's crazy how like the rebellion is like, we're all in this together, but like none of them trust each other. And I was like even like that whole interaction, he's like, you heard about that robbery? He's like, oh, I thought you did it. Oh, I thought you did it. And I was just like you said, Yali, like we know who Saul is. Like we know he don't fuck with the Empire. Like we know he's like committed to the cause, even though his methods are wild. So just like even that back and forth where like Luthen not admitting to it, and he kind of don't tell anybody about it except mine because she was there. But like anybody who asks, he's like, oh yeah, word, that's crazy. I ain't know nothing about that. And I'm like, I get like obviously in your social settings not saying it, but like you're with other rebellion members, and even then. So
like you know Saul's not gonna snitch. So like why don't you just fucking tell him?
You showed up to my man's offering boatloads of money that just matches the amount that was just stolen. You're like, yeah, I don't know nothing about that money.
Pure coincidence.
Like, what you mean, bro? You know what I do for a living. I just got bread. I was just like, I don't understand. Because I would have thought Saul being Saul, like I thought that had he admitted he did that, I think he would have been like, "Oh shit, respect, brother. Yeah, I got you. like I see you about this life now." But even him just saying like, "Oh yeah, I didn't do that," because Saul probably looks at him like just like you were saying, like, "Oh, you're a person that's rich already. You just kind of, this is for fun for you. It's rebellion for hobby. Like you're not really suffering at all." So like I feel like if you would have just like come clean and say like, "Hey, yeah, that wasn't me. I got us the monies. I got us all the monies. Like how can you help me out?" feel like that would have went a long way. So it's confusing. And
You should
then
have
it's just
played
like,
to the single dad in him. Like, I know you're a single dad and you're just trying to raise your daughter out here on this rocky planet that's not Tatooine. Like, I'm just trying to help you.
This rocky sandy planet that's not Tatooine.
That's not Tatooine.
he's like, my daughter's out here too doing something.
We all have daughters. It's crazy. From dad to dad,
I don't know. I guess because I'm trying to like him, because it's 5 years ain't a long time. So it's like we know that from the show to Andor was like 4 or 5 years. So like you were saying, like Saul's total shift to like being a forever optimist and the rebellion actually being one band, one sound. So it's just like, how are we going from so much season
to him having like really bad asthma and like way older than he's supposed to be? Like the way you age in Star Wars is insane. Like,
yo, facts. It's like Obi-Wan in Rebels had the gray hair, like he was Alec Guinness, but then in the Obi-Wan series, which is like concurrent with that, my
just
man
still
had
Ewan
long
McGregor.
he had long flowing hair, like he had good knees.
He got the Brazilian keratin treatment in, like he was just out there
You
living.
saw the highlights. You saw the highlights. Had the Just for Men touch of gray in the beard. Like we ran out of things.
We still don't have the Star Wars hair salon show, and I'm gonna fight for that shit.
It's on the way. It's on. We look. Come get us.
Someone is doing hair in Star Wars, and it is. Yo, I need to know who that person is.
Reva's braid. She was laid the whole show. Killing it. Anakin's faux mullet, like in the prequels, like the Jedi braids. Like who's out here doing these braids?
Someone is doing here. We just want to know
who's out here doing these braids. So for the chat, our final question: who is the hairstylist?
It's Cassian's sister. That's what she did afterwards. She saved up her prostitution money and she opened up a nice little place on like Yavin 5 or something, and she's just like, this is out of options, and it's well, I'm not supposed to read it. That's you.
All right, so we got some activity in the chat. Luthen is out of options. Let me so again, look, fastest graduate in Jedi Temple history, and it immediately establishes Luthen's place, puts him in a place with the familiar rebel character of Saul. Building a rebel alliance is hard work. It is. It's not wrong. It's gonna take some time.
Unless it's built on hope, then it's easy.
Ooh.
And this hasn't started on hope yet. It hasn't.
Not just any old hope. It has to be new hope.
New hope.
Can't be old hope.
Gotta be.
Can't be current hope. It's gotta be new hope.
We didn't even talk about Biggs that much. So now
we still got 7 minutes. We could get in there real quick.
So now we have a reason to be on Ferrex, what's gonna happen besides the love affair.
What's Cassian's man's his friend? What was his friend?
Brasso.
Yeah. So we'll close this out with some Ferrex talk really quick. So we do go back to Bix. Her wound has healed. She's upright. They're checking on his mom, who still hasn't turned on the heat. She still has yet to turn on the heat. And it's funny, everybody's comment when they walk in the house, like, what did you do in here? Like, why? It's fucking freezing.
She's ready for it to end. She's ready for the rebellion to come. It might as well have a cold winter with it all day.
So I guess we will final prediction. I'll go to you ladies. So do we see Cassian's mom? Is what we've gotten going to be her plot thread, or is she destined for something more? Like, is she going to be like because they keep talking about, well, not talking, they keep showing that they're like building like a base of operations for the ISB, like on Ferrex. Like Cassian pretty much screwed over his hometown. Now it's like an Empire hotspot. Everybody's there. They're building efficiencies and gentrifying the neighborhood, kicking everybody out, moving stormtroopers in. Like, it's wild in there. But we speak of his mom's that she's kind of like been going into the market every day, checking to make sure that the underground tunnels are still like functional, so that the rebellion, when they finally get their shit together, they can come. So is predictions from you, Yali, you can go first. Is his mom, when is she gonna live to see some get back? Are we gonna get like are we gonna get a Book of Boba Fett Mos Espa town fights the Empire scene this season?
Listen, that whole spirit of townness died when Tim with the good calf died. And
make your good calf.
He made a really good calf. I think his mom is probably gonna pull like some like last minute like kamikaze mission where like they need to get in and she like runs in with a bomb. She's like for Ireland or Scotland or wherever, and she blows everything up, and it's just and Cassian catches his mother right before she dies. She's like, "You're the son I never had. I love you." And B2 Emo's just like, "Mom," and then that's what's gonna happen. That's exactly what's happen. I think she just has one. I think she'll be like the spark that unites the new hope of the rebellion. That's my prediction.
Not current hope.
Not current hope. The new hope, even though she's old.
They trying to fuel this rebellion off current hope. That's why it's just not working. I see what you did there. Miso, what do you think about Cassian's mom? Like, is she gonna get her last stand, her one last hurrah, or she is
the last stand. She is the seed of hope for Ferrix and the rebellion. That's why she's not leaving. She's a ride or die chick. That's it.
I love it. I love it. Look, that's the plot. The show's called Andor. It's really by his mom's.
Mm-hmm.
It's really by his mom. Is that her last name too? Is her last name Andor?
Yes.
We just solved the show. We thought it was about Cassian this whole time. We thought Andor was referencing Cassian this whole time. It was talking about his mom, the mother of rebellion. Come, that's it, guys. We're closing on that. We're ending on that. We made it an hour on an episode. It didn't give you much time. So before
we gave you Turkish delights. You're welcome.
Team 2 Box, we do this in real life. So before we close this bad boy out, Yali, you're returning. I'll let you go first. Tell the people where they can find you. Let's get those moths in the chat from our mother. Let's get those spoons for Cyril and DJ. Let's get them in there. Yali, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me here at Fandom Spotlite, where I be writing some stuff and talking about 2 boxes, even though it annoys the voice of God very much. And if you want, I am nominated as Journalist of the Year for the Game Her Awards. So you can go to gamers.com. Go on the big button that says vote. You click it and you look for me, my beautiful face, and you can vote for me. And yeah. And also working over there for Dragon Ball for Life, the podcast, doing the producer thing. So they have a new episode that's super hilarious, and you guys should go listen to it. And also check out the Game Hers, where my good friend Miso's from too. Game Hers buddies.
While we buried the lead, Miso, tell them where they can find you. You're still muted. Oh, there we go.
I'm still in. My phone's dying, but I kind of pulled ear like the tongue in. I'm gonna start doing the sound of your voice. Yeah, Miso Hai. I'm still getting it together, so just Miso Hai. Yeah, vote for Yali.
Vote for Yali.
And the gamers stuff. Yeah. Thanks for having me here all the time.
Absolutely. So we promise this every week that we're going to be a full group. So we're going to do it again. Next week, it should be all 4 of us. Mikey should be done his wedding duties, and we'll be back in full effect. But I have been your Mater D for the evening, Matthew Porter, co-host of the Dragon Ball Full Life podcast, sponsored by Fandom Spotlight. It has been a very fun episode. Y'all guys deserve some Turkish delight. Go get it. Don't sell out your siblings for it. Just go buy it from the store.
I don't even like my brother like that. I'll get it for free.
Don't take it just for free. Like, you need to know where they at? I don't even need nothing. Go ahead. I'll give you something to snitch.
He's already over there. I'm gonna get
I'll give you Turkish delight and snitch. But I promised the voice of God that we would not go over. We were at 9:59, so we made great time. So always and forever follow that fandom, and we will see you guys next week. Peace out.